Everyone loves a good mystery story, and stories are even better when they're true. Fortunately, mysteries are solved easily every day, but some go unsolved for years, if they're ever solved at all. These are often the most intriguing and captivating mystery stories. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 different mysterious stories. The woman who was missing for 2 years. 46-year-old Angelica Geishan left her home in September 2008 without providing much explanation to her family. They only knew that she wished to go live with her brother in Ecuador. Her family lost contact with her 2 years after that. On March 14, 2019, Angelica's health insurance company told her husband that she had scheduled an appointment with her psychologist. This was the only proof they had that she was still alive. He later found she was living in a homeless shelter in Barranquilla, but no one could say how she got there. Angelica's daughter, Paula Castablanco, believes her disappearance had something to do with her mental health issues. This was something she had suffered with for years. Paula said her mother often had panic attacks, especially when she saw certain cars. She would scream and warn her family that people were coming for her and that they couldn't let her go with them. Paula assumed that something must have happened while Angelica was missing that traumatized her even more. On September 26, 2020, 2 fishermen spotted Angelica drifting in the sea about a mile off the coast of Colombia. At first, they didn't think much of it, believing she was just a floating log, but she caught their attention by waving to them for help. The men threw her a life preserver and brought her onto their boat. They gave her water and tried to find out who she was, but she didn't respond. All she could do was cry. They took her straight to the hospital and she was treated for hypothermia and exhaustion. It's estimated that she was floating in the water for around 8 hours before the men found her. This particular part of the ocean she was in is home to many dangerous sharks. Many people were shocked that she wasn't attacked by any. Angelica claimed that many circled her at various times, though she admitted that she could have been hallucinating. Angelica later told reporters that she hadn't come in contact with her family because she was escaping domestic violence that had been going on for years. Her family, though, insisted that this wasn't the truth. However, she believed she was rescued because God didn't want her to pass away just yet, and that she was born again. So far, no one really knows what happened to Angelica during the 2 years she was missing. Her family is raising money to bring her home and get her the help she needs to move forward with her life. The mystery of the unmarked graves. At the Christ Church, most of the graves are considered to be known, meaning the gravestones have been marked with the person's name, age, and day they passed away. These graves are occupied by people who have family and friends who are able to identify them and make sure their gravestones were marked correctly. However, there are still many graves that are unmarked and that could be excavated, since no one can even be sure that they're occupied. Members of the church have been reaching out to the public, hoping to find any details on these unmarked graves. If they remain unknown, they could potentially be dug up to be used as a new burial space. At this point, they could realise the spaces are already occupied, which is the situation they're hoping to avoid. If the church is able to gather more information on these unmarked graves from the public, the details could be recorded and compiled into the new database. The graves would then remain unbothered. The mystery man who tended graves. On September 17, 2020, paramedics were called after a man was found passed out in the All Saints Cemetery in Newcastle. He passed away on the scene, and the paramedics found no reason to suspect foul play. It's believed that he passed away due to natural causes. The man had no wallet or identification on him, but he was seen tending graves, ensuring they were always tidy. The authorities have resorted to asking the public for help in identifying him. This man was 5 foot 9 inches tall and had a medium build. His hair was grey and was thinning. He was believed to be somewhere between 55 and 75 years old. On the day he passed away, he was wearing a white polo shirt, dark pants, and dark shoes. He'd brought a flask and his tools in a plastic bag with him to the cemetery that day. Just like any other day, he was cutting hedges around some of the gravestones, but he soon collapsed and passed away while working. Staff members at the cemetery were saddened by the fact they didn't know his name, since he'd worked so hard to help them and to show respect for those who had already passed away out of the kindness of his heart. They weren't even sure which graves he took care of the most, which could have given them a clue about his identity. They don't feel that he deserves to be laid to rest in an unmarked grave. They felt that he lived with great dignity and deserved to be laid to rest in the same way. The police have received many calls, but still haven't discovered the true identity of the man. The police have exhausted all leads, and there have been no missing persons reports matching the man's description. One woman who read about this man was especially moved by his kindness. She decided to raise money to cover the expenses of his funeral. She felt it was the least she could do for someone who had given so much of himself without ever being thanked. So what do you think about these mysteries? Do you think there's more to them? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.